What it do, everybody? This is Junior Zamarone coming at you from Ukiah, California for a special edition of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. On today's show, we're going to mix up the format a little bit and introduce you to a special edition Discord group bobblehead. Then we're going to go on a bar-side beer talk, reviewing the 2020 MLB season and trying beers that we normally wouldn't try on a normal occasion. In the words of Ted Lang from The Love Boat, can I fix anyone a drink? This week's bobblehead came out this year during the pandemic and is of legendary Oakland A's owner Charlie Finley. The bobblehead itself comes from the A's Collectors Corner fan group on Discord. It's a fun little group where you can show off your A's collection or search out for grails that you're missing or anything in between. It's limited to 100 bobbleheads, and I was lucky enough to get number 72 of 100. Now it's meaningful in two different situations. 1972 is the year that the three-peat dynasty kicked off, but it's also the inversion of my childhood number of 27, flipped to 72 to honor my best friend that passed away, Juan Marichal and Catfish Hunter. It's designed by 33 Custom and produced by an unknown manufacturer out of China. It's a part of the pin-based series, which is the mindchild of Rob Roberts, or better known as the Oakland A's Super Collector at NorCal Nodders on Twitter. The bobblehead is made of ceramic, I believe, because this thing is a beast. It's super heavy and very sturdy. It sits at 9 inches tall to the top of his hat and has a base that's roughly 3 inches in diameter. It depicts the Lucky Clover press pin from 1974. That's the same pin that was handed out to the media that covered the Oakland A's during the '74 season. That same Lucky Clover is on the 1974 World Series trophy itself. It also features Charlie Finley's iconic orange baseball, which was used in an exhibition game in 1973 against the Cleveland Indians. Charlie said that fans would be able to track the orange baseball, especially when it flies into the outfield, better than your traditional white baseball. He also said that batters would be able to pick up the spin of the ball, leading to more hits, which in turn creates a more exciting fan experience for the game. Sadly, Charlie O's iconic ball was not adapted into MLB and was then never seen again. The detail on this bobblehead are near perfection. The paint is so well done that it doesn't even bleed together, and there's no real blemishes on it. The base has a Technicolor feel to it because it features wedding gown white, Fort Knox gold, and Kelly green. The hat itself has a textured feel to it, like felt, the same material that Charlie Finley's iconic hat was made of. Now, the whole design of the bobblehead came from Rob himself. He made the first prototype, sent it off to the manufacturer in China that mass-produced the 100 that came to the group. I spoke with Rob, and he told me that there's probably going to be 4 more bobbleheads in the pin base set. He's currently waiting on approval from the players, so go on over to Twitter and follow him so you can stay up to the moment on the progress. I also asked him what made him start doing custom bobbleheads. He said that it was basically that the A's lacked creativity or refused to give us the fan favorite bobbleheads that we really wanted, so he had to take the matter into his own hands and create them himself. He's currently working on a 3-foot Terry Steinbach bobblehead. That's a bobblehead that he hopes that the A's will give out as a stadium giveaway in the near future soon. Welcome into the show, my brother-in-laws. We have Dustin right here, and we have Brent. And we're going to go over some beers that we normally wouldn't drink, and we're going to BS and talk about the 2020 MLB season. Brent, what'd you bring to the table today?
Brought the Anderson Valley Old Fashioned. It's a malt beer that's aged in bourbon barrels. It's got a 8.3%. It's supposed to have orange peel, cherry puree. It's supposed to taste pretty good. It's got pretty good reviews.
All right, well, let's crack it open. I want to see how it pours. I think I continuously do this wrong because a lot of the beer pictures that I see, there's a lot of head on there. But when I'm drinking a beer, I don't want a lot of head on it. I want more beer for my buck. It might be a cheap thing for me to do. So it looks pretty dark. So what style of beer would you say this is?
It'd be a malt beer. That's what it's made to be, and then aged in bourbon barrels.
So would it be like
you would compare it
Cobra?
to? No, you compare it to like Old English, Mickey's, stuff like that, and then it gets its color and everything because they age it in the bourbon barrels.
Wow. Which I definitely pick up on that oak smell.
I don't know if I'd compare this to Old English and Mickey's.
Well, that's where. So right at the end of the fermenting process, they put cherry puree in it.
Wow.
And that's where you get that sweetness too.
Yeah,
that's
see, Mickey's they do the same thing, but they use urine.
I like Mickey's.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean.
It's not very bitter. Like, it's got a good taste to it. It goes down easy.
It's very balanced. I really do like that. I'm just not a real big fan of the bitters. I like to have a smooth, refreshing finish when I'm drinking a beer. And this one is a little harsh, but I think the sweetness makes up for that. For me, I can't really find the orange that's in it. But you definitely pick up the tart, sweet cherry.
From the cherry,
yeah.
Absolutely.
I wonder, one of these days, I kept searching out for a tequila-based Mexican ale, and I would love to see beers bring in some of those spirits like vodka or rum or whiskey or bourbon, and try to see what kind of flavors would balance well and what would work together.
It's also got a really low carbonation to it. Like, there's not a lot of carbonation to it.
A lot of the stuff that we've recently been pouring definitely looks like it could be flirting with the cider/hard seltzer vibe. I mean, sometimes that's good because you like that refreshingness on a hot summer day, but sometimes it's a little overbearing and you don't really want that air in the beer.
There's a lot of those juices and stuff like that out there now. Really
the juicy
fruit into
IPAs.
the mix.
Yeah. Some of the milkshake ones that they have lots of fruit in them.
So, if you drink Mickey's, what kept you away from this particular style?
So I think for me, it's the bourbon stuff. I'm not a huge bourbon guy, so I've actually had old fashions, at the bar and stuff like that, and I think they're disgusting. So, when I seen this, I was like, all right, well, you mix beer and the old fashioned might turn out better, and I like this a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah, you can taste the bourbon barrels. They had a nice little, smoky flavor to the background.
I would like to know like what bourbon barrels they used. That would be nice for them to put that out there, like if it was like Wild Turkey or something like that. Because that's what a lot of them are Wild Turkey. When you get a lot of these ones that are made in
yeah, because they produce a hella amount of fucking whiskey, right?
Yeah,
that's why they get so many leftover barrels.
Yeah, there's I can't remember which company it is, but they do like IPA whiskeys, and they do a lot of the same thing. I think it's Jameson.
Oh, okay.
Jameson does a lot of that.
Is anybody
they go back and forth?
Is anybody picking up on a spicy note to it? Because I'm getting a little. I don't want to say it because they're gonna take away my Mexican card. I'm getting a little heartburn right now for some reason.
I think that's probably the smoke. Honestly, the smoke from the inside of the barrels. The smoked stuff gives a lot of people heartburn.
Okay.
So
I normally don't pick that up on my brisket, but I might be a little bit weak on my whiskeys and scotches. So
hey,
I am a tequila guy. So this is definitely out on a limb for me, but it's tasty and it's local. It's out of Boonville, Anderson Valley, and I know Brent likes to go out there and disc golf and have some fun out there with the kids and or just by himself.
Usually, yeah, that's a good one.
So, would you say this is the type of beer that you would drink while watching the game?
No, I think this honestly is the type of beer that I would drink with you'd have to have like a nice like steak or something like that. It's a
steak cigar beer.
Yeah, exactly. I was like
high end shit.
You kind of need a cigar, like it's a steak and cigar type of thing. That's what I would do.
I'm probably the only one at this table that doesn't smoke, so I'm out on that one. But give me a good steak. I like a New York strip. I've gone from well done because of my Mexican roots down to a medium.
Oh, you should have seen the ribeyes I made last night. They were delicious. Would have been great for those.
Yeah, I think it's the real bold, strong flavor. It needs strong stuff to pair with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll overshadow everything else.
A lot of overshadowing was done when it came to the MLB season because this season was like any other one out there because it got pretty much canceled by the pandemic. The pandemic brought a close to spring training, and then a couple months later, they brought together a 60-game season where they expanded the playoffs and they declared the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series champions. At least it wasn't the Astros, that's all I have to say.
As long as it's not the Astros, it's okay.
Yep. Dustin, which team did you feel had the best shot of winning the World Series?
Probably either the LA Lakers or the Packers. I'm not too sure with the whole loss of Mickey Mantle and everything. It's touch and go there. I mean,
It was such a
but
good.
I think
Aaron Rodgers is local, right?
Is he now?
Yeah, his grandma's somewhere
I'm gonna
up
have
in
to
the
get
hills.
him to teach me how to throw a curveball.
Yeah.
Curveball is a wonderful beer. I love that stuff. Pyramid, if you're watching this, keep sending. Keep sending.
Keep it coming.
I want it stocked year-round if possible.
It'd be great.
Maybe a keg, just throwing it out
once
there.
in a while.
I do have a tap handle for a curveball, so Dustin, if you can build me a kegerator, we'll have curveball on tap year-round.
All the time.
Let's make it happen.
Sounds great to me.
Hell yeah.
Now, the crazy thing for me is that my team, the Oakland A's, had the best shot possible to win a World Series. And then they crapped the bed.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that we went up against the Astros, but the saying goes, be careful what you ask for, because a lot of the players on the A's asked for the Astros in the playoffs, and that's exactly what they got. Unfortunately, My opinion is that they continuously cheated through the playoffs, and then they got so good after being so bad that they had to back it off, and they wound up losing to the Tampa Bay Rays, who went on to then lose to the Dodgers. What do you think about their cheating ways?
Oh man, I cannot stand the Astros. They are, for me, my favorite player right now. At least this 60 game thing we had going on had to have been Joe Kelly. And I hate that because I'm a huge Giants fan and he's in the Dodgers. But Joe Kelly just flat out basically said F off to the Astros and hit them whenever he could. Made, the fun, whiny crybaby stuff when he struck him out. He gave it to him relentlessly, regardless of how many fines he was going to have. And it just made my day.
I honestly don't think that he actually wound up serving his 8-game suspension.
No,
I honestly think that it was being appealed so much. And then for a little while there, I think the Dodgers got shut down because of a positive COVID test. Mm-hmm. But that got wrapped up really quick up until the World Series and Justin Turner.
Let's go party. Give everybody COVID. It's cool.
Might as well. But so for the Astros, I wish that they would go back to the National League. I never really had a problem with the Astros up until they came into the American League, and they went from bottom feeders to pretty much the top dog in the American League West. A lot of people say that it's jealousy, but to get that good that quick and then be busted for cheating, it basically taints everything that you've worked hard for. The real hero of the 2020 MLB season, to me, is Trevor Bauer. He constantly berated Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, and took nice digs at the Astros all season long, whether it was on Twitter or Instagram or the cleats on his feet with trash cans.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful cleats, because it sort of rubbed the salt in the wounds, stabbed him a little bit. I am Mexican, got to stab a couple people here and there, get your street cred up.
Yeah.
But he really did a wonderful job. And then on top of all of that, he won the Cy Young. So for me, he gets the gold star when it comes to the baseball season this year. Now, our cups are empty. So, Dustin, what did you bring to the bar?
I brought an Abbey Ale called Brother Thelonious. And I've never had an Abbey Ale, let alone a Belgian-style one. But I'm a big fan of Belgian-style beers in general. So I figured I'd give this one a shot. And I didn't really look at the ABV or anything, but it's pretty goddamn strong. So this is those drunk monks.
9.4.
Yeah.
9.4.
That's a good one.
I think the last heavy beer that I had was the double IPA from Hen House Brewing out in Santa Rosa. It was the Mendoza line. I want to say that it was like a 9.3, but I'm not quite certain. I think I just really did either a good pour or I messed up my own style.
That's a commercial pour where you want it to look like
that's a commercial.
You're just really fucked up and you're having a great time. You poured your beer a little wild.
This is like I want to drink it.
Threesome.
So, what kept you away from the Belgian-style Abbey Ale? Because that's delicious.
Absolutely nothing. I didn't know Abbey Ale existed. I know there's a bunch of monks who used to make ale back in the day, but
Chimay.
I didn't know people. I've had Chimay before.
The Reserve is really
Reserve.
good. Yep.
Is Chimay an Abbey Ale?
Chimay
I might have
is an
fucked
Abbey.
up because I've had Chimay before. I had too much Chimay though. I guess I didn't even know it was an Abbey Ale.
You can buy that big bottle. It's like this big. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a refreshing beer. You do pick up a little bit of the hoppiness. Getting through the head of the beer, I got a lot of foam, and you definitely get the aroma of the hops.
Yeah.
I can't really pick out if it's the piney variety or if it's the new juicy wave that comes out. I know there's Cascades and
I don't quite taste the juicy in it. Like,
no.
No.
Yeah, I was reading about it a little bit after I purchased it because, fucking data second.
Yeah, absolutely. Go
It
for
had
something good.
some kind of hops. It said what it was, but it didn't sound like anything crazy. But a really low bitterness. I figured it'd be nice and drinkable.
I like
didn't
the
know
low
it was that
bitterness.
strong, but yeah, low bitterness and strength is good.
It's located out of Fort Bragg, California, and my favorite beer from them is the Prankster. I actually tried it at the Oakland A's Brew Fest.
Prankster's good, dude. Prankster's good.
Amazing. It was one of the things that when teams do beer fest or brew fest, it's normally a lot of Budweisers and a lot of commercial things. So when I saw that it was different than what was being offered, Modelo's or Coronas or Pacificas and stuff like that, I jumped on it, and it actually had a really good body to it, just like this one.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that it doesn't have bitterness. It doesn't have any of that. So it's going to sneak up on you. You think that you can take back a couple of these, but with the high
That's true.
alcohol
At
volume.
9.4, you get 2 in.
No,
Yeah.
it goes down easy enough to where you have 2 or 3 of these, you're going to be like, you're going to be pretty good and not realize what's going on.
We sit down, watch the game, and stand up to go piss, and then we'll fall down.
Right?
At the Coliseum, you fall into the trough at AT&T or
Yeah.
Oracle Park now. I'm never going to call it Oracle Park. It's always going to be
Hey,
AT&T.
it's still packed though to me.
That's the OG.
That is
It's still packed
traditional
though to me.
company, AT&T.
I had to throw them by the
Small
wayside.
town company.
Yeah.
The color on this is phenomenal. The difference that I'm picking up, it's very subtle. It does have a little bit of carbonation,
I'd say
unlike
it's-
the Anderson Valley.
Yeah, it's still a little bit more than that, but I like these low carbonation, these beers.
I don't know. What makes you belch and burp all the time?
I'm fat, and I have too much food in my stomach at all times.
All times.
Guess it's not the carbonation. I was wrong.
Well, mixed with all the food that he has.
Yeah, I just gotta make room. I'm burping out little
Whoppers,
pieces of my
tacos,
guts.
everything, man.
I had a bowl of Cheerios. Cheerios, if you're watching, go ahead. Throw me a sponsorship, anything
Absolutely.
like that. Delicious multi-grain, good for your heart. I'm not quite sure
throw it
what's
out there.
going on with me. I have been doing DDP yoga for the last year. I've lost 75 pounds, and I'm not sure how much I've put back on since starting this show. But
Lots of beer, though.
the thing that I'm learning on brews and talking baseball and just enjoying it, it's well worth it. It
Yeah.
really is.
Good times.
The big elephant in the room, besides the ABV on this beer, is the fact that MLB was plagued with the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
Now, no matter what you say, at this table or this bar, we have a beer, we discuss, and we talk about the things that are going on in life. No matter what I say, it's not going to change how you think, and I don't really want to do that at all. Because everybody is allowed to have their own opinions, and there's consequences that come with those opinions. So it's really a touchy subject, and nobody really wants to talk about it. But what me and Brent especially appreciate about each other is that we can have a dialogue. Now, Dustin, how would you feel about tuning into a game, probably which you don't really care about because you said the Lakers and the Packers.
Yeah.
That's basketball and football. But if you tuned in to watch a baseball game and you see people taking a knee, quote unquote, disrespecting the flag, does that keep you away from the game, or does it make you go, what's going on over there?
Well, as a veteran and a patriot, I could say I really don't give too much of a shit. I think the guy wearing garbage cans on his cleats is far more entertaining and probably where they should be heading. They're getting paid a lot of money to entertain people. But if they'd rather use their pulpit to bring attention to some dumb shit, be it Barbies or... because those Barbies are fucked up. I don't know if you guys,
Some of them are bad.
The
It's
shapes and everything, they're fucked up. You guys should know about that.
The
But
Trolls
whatever
ones, too.
whatever kind of thing you're into or want to call attention to, it's okay with me. As long as you don't eat up too much of the game.
Right?
How about you?
So, for me, I have a lot of veteran friends. I talk to a lot of people mostly online in the veteran community, and for the most part, when it comes to disrespecting the flag, most of them are like, well, that flag stands for America, and in America you have a lot of freedom, and they fought for that freedom. So most veterans that I talk to, they don't care. They're like, listen, if they have an opinion, they have every right to state that opinion. I mean, there's some people that want to say the business of it, so you got like, oh, you're a professional baseball player, you're supposed to be entertaining us, we don't want to hear about your politics. But again, in America, you have that right. I mean, it's one of those things. So it never stopped me from watching baseball. It never stopped me from watching any sport. But it was nice to see that at least the league, a group of people, seemingly in all different types of upbringings and everything, came together for something, and that's more important for the most part for America than anything else. We gotta come to an agreement at some point. So that's how I feel about it.
It's hard for me to say this because I choke on my words a lot, especially when it comes to the Giants. I really don't like them, but I have to give them a tip of my cap. So that's to the Giants right there, because they actually came out and they took a knee. And not just one person, not two people.
Bunch of people.
About half the team took a knee in solidarity for the movement. And it was really tough not seeing the A's do anything, especially with as much political activism that was happening over there with the Black Panthers. You would expect that to come from Oakland and not from the Giants. So we did have Tony Kemp and we did have Chris Davis raise their fist in solidarity, but it pretty much ended there, and it was back to business for the majority of the teams. When it came to basketball, they actually canceled some games, and it happened in MLB as well. But it actually needs to come down to, we have to talk about it. And if you walk off the field or walk off the court, don't come back if it's all about money. And I think that's what happened with this season. After going through and making that stand that we are not going to play until something changes, it seems like it was half-hearted. So if you're going to be behind this movement and actually try to unite and bring change, put your money where your mouth is. Lose a couple million.
That's the biggest thing right there. There's a lot of celebrities that are out there, a lot of professional sport athletes, and this is to everybody out there. And when you're making millions and millions of dollars a year, and you're saying that you stand for this stuff, put your money where your mouth is. Go into these neighborhoods that are lower income, and even if they're all black, all Hispanic, you're saying you have your white privilege. Go in and try to change something. Do something positive with all the money that you're making. I mean, you can't say you want change but not willing to do anything for it. And that's where I feel a lot of athletes and everything is that they want to say, oh, we support this. We support this, but if you're not going to do anything about it with the money that you're making, the average person, all they can do is have a voice. These, multimillionaires that are athletes and actors, and they can actually go out and they can affect change. And that's what they need to do. That's what's going to make America better.
Yeah, it's really a good point, like to piggyback on. I mean, it's kind of a dual-edged sword. I mean, for sure, everybody who is super rich or whatever is very fortunate and very lucky, but they're lucky also because they have that position where they can stand up for something that they believe in, regardless of whatever it is, or get exposure for any particular topic they want. So I mean, the fact that they choose something that's worthwhile is at least worthwhile to them is a good thing.
And me personally, I want to give a major shout out to a really good friend of mine, Bruce Maxwell. He used to play for the Oakland A's, and he actually was the first person in baseball to take a knee to bring awareness to the situation. And it triggered off a whirlwind of emotion, and, there's a lot of things that come with the repercussions of that. But from the moment that he did that to the moment now where he's playing in Mexico and he's a champion down there in the Mexican League, he's stuck by his guns, and he lost a lot of money because he believed in what he was standing for, and now he's doing it down in Mexico, working with a lot of inner city kids in Mexico, and he was doing it in Arizona as well. So tip of the cap to Bruce. We always love you here in the Zamarone family. Always going to be hashtag Bruce Maxwell Fan Club. We're already 2 beers in, and now we're going to bring out the third gun, which comes from Old Kaz out of Runner Park, California. It's their Skaggs Oatmeal Stout. Comes in at 8% alcohol by volume. And normally I don't show my notes, but I always take notes. Trade secrets, exactly. I normally take notes, that way I can best exemplify what the brand wants to put out there. So go ahead, grab your beer. And it was founded in 2018, and it's named after the old Cazadero Road, which links the town of Guerneville and Cazadero. It is 8% alcohol by volume and features Centennial hops, roasted barley, oats, and chocolate wheat.
That's exactly a fucking point.
That is exactly a
Props. Right on the button.
Well, you didn't say anything about Skaggs Road.
So Skaggs Road,
Yeah, they do not leave you headroom, dude.
I think I messed it up.
I went over a little bit.
Yeah, I poured bad.
This is exactly 1 point.
I went over just a little bit.
You guys didn't see that at home. So what they focus on is that there's a lot of majesty around Sonoma County, which is where I was born. And they want to create beers that live up to that type of description. So when I went to Old Kaz, I picked up their Pilsner and their Chismosa Mexican Ale. And while I was there sitting around at the brew house, I was like, I'm looking for a beer that I normally wouldn't drink. And the reason why I didn't mess with a lot of stouts is because it has a lot of coffee or chocolate flavors to it. And this one doesn't really deliver. When I tried it, it was freaking delicious. Now, let's see if that continues to be the case.
I got the chocolate in it for sure.
Yeah, really dark flavors, but nothing too.
I mean, it's robust, but like not. It's what you'd expect out of a stout. That coffee, chocolate.
I almost
flavor.
feel bad because I've had a lot of oak stouts, or oat stouts, and this feels middle of the road.
Yeah.
I don't want to disparage it. It's good, but it's not blowing me away.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost what I expected on the money.
Yeah, no, it's when you said stout, so it's to shout out to another Santa Rosa brewing company, it's Moonlight, right? Moonlight Brewing Company has one. It's called Death and Taxes, and it's kind of that same feel, kind of a lighter, the real low on the bitterness value, right? So the real low on that, and it's just a dark chocolate caramel, like that's what you get out of it.
And I think that's for me. It was lower on the bitterness value and it actually brought down. So maybe I can graduate up to what you guys have been drinking stout wise. Mm-hmm. But for me, this is like key. So if you're not really big on the stout or the porters, this is pretty much a great introduction brew to that style. I mean, come on. I drink blonde ales, pilsners, and Mexican, favorites. Corona, Modelo, Pacifico. I really do like Sol, and I actually like the American, the American Corona from Landshark Brewing Company. Jimmy Buffett. Come on. Who doesn't like Jimmy Buffett?
The American Corona?
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Landshark.
I agree with that. Landshark is delicious. I don't know why.
What?
Why compare it to Corona at all?
You call that the American Corona?
Yes, that's the American Corona. I was first introduced to that at the Brudico household in Hopland, California, and they actually sliced up some jalapenos and dropped it in.
Ooh.
And then a little spice to it.
Spice would be good.
Yeah.
Hey, anybody out there want to brew that?
Pounding though. That's
There you go.
Nice, slow, steady kind of beer night. Jalapenos.
It's really dark, and to be honest, that day, it was late at night, about 6 o'clock at night, and I didn't notice how dark it was. I normally like that blonde style.
Yeah.
I get into the ambers.
A little bit.
I'm picking up a little tiny bit, even with the chocolate and a little tiny bit of coffee bitterness at the back of the throat. Mm-hmm. I'm picking up that toasted, like, just really deep flavor.
Well, and it seems like they put a little bit more sugar in it, too. So to keep the bitterness down, it's almost like they added the sweet value to it. So, like, they have a little bit more sugar.
Do you think that would come from the chocolate and the wheat?
Probably.
Yeah.
Or it's a, what is it? It's a milk stout. So the milk, milk in itself has sugar in it. So
yeah,
just adding the milk to it probably brings up the sugar value a little bit, which is probably where you get some of the alcohol. Because like the one I said, Moonlight Brewing, I don't think their alcohol percentage is up that high. So you add the milk to it, gives you the sugar, gives you a higher alcohol.
Yeah. Sugar helps everything ferment a little better.
Yeah.
Increases the bacterial yield.
I mean, it's good though. It's exactly what you'd expect from a stout, honestly. Something not super bitter.
And a lot of the times people basically bust my balls. Why do you stay within one element of beer when there's so many different varieties out there?
Yeah,
and that's the
why
beautiful.
do you?
Well, I like comfort zones. If you don't know me, I really like being within things that I can actually stand. Like
Okay.
there's sometimes that
You can stand the A's.
the A's are a very acquired taste, and if you're used to having a great team come so close and then fail, I guess I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Right. Cheers to Bill
And
Dean.
hey, you know what?
Stockholm Syndrome, children.
They won
Pay attention.
3 World Series trophies in a row from 72 to 74, and then it made another run.
72 to 74.
72 to 74.
If you got to put the hyphen in for 1 year, you're not saving any space. It's 72, 73.
It's about the
74.
dash in between.
They made another run from 88 to 90. Unfortunately, only got one by sweeping the Giants.
Sweeping the Giants.
So, in the world of the Battle of the Bay, we will always make sure that we are number one in your heart, just like Joe
the heart.
Kingman.
Not on the standings.
In the standings, actually, it comes down to we hold
Scoreboards will change over
overall.
How
We
you
hold
felt.
the overall
This days.
track record between the
That's
A's
true.
and the Giants.
Yeah, that's absolutely
That's even
true.
dating back from Philadelphia and New York.
I mean, baseball, is an evolution. I mean, the Giants won 3 World Series in 5 years.
Yeah, but it took you like 64 years.
It absolutely did. But obviously, we caught up to the curve. So,
Honestly, for all the crap
mean-
about talking and not watching too much baseball, I've watched plenty of baseball. As much as the game changes, the fundamentals mostly
still
stay
the same, dude. If you go back to basics,
Yeah.
that's the thing. You got some of these people. Launch angle is the worst thing ever for me. Baseball, right? You're hitting. You have to get that 22-degree launch angle. Listen, base hits win games.
It's very true.
100%.
For me, I really hate the wins above replacement. Yes, you are a great player. You can have the talent of Matt Chapman, our star third baseman,
Right.
or even Nolan Arenado, who has won 3
Killer.
platinum gloves in a row in the National League. I don't think anybody from the Giants has done that.
No, nobody. Yeah,
Sadly,
it's true.
nobody from the A's have done that, except, Chapman did do the last 2 years, and he was hurt this year. It should have been handed to him. Even though he was hurt, he should have been in the running for a Gold Glove at least, but that could be my biased opinion.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Maybe.
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
The funny thing is, the MVP of the American League, Jose Abreu, didn't win a Gold Glove.
No.
And they gave it to a rookie first baseman from Seattle. And it was really surprising because it should have went to Matt Olson. But if not, a lot of these defensive saving awards have become who's the best hitting defensive player.
Which isn't defense at all.
Exactly. One of my favorite players, and hopefully he gets a bump in Hall of Fame voting is Omar Vizquel, who played with the Giants and with the Indians, Blue Jays, and I believe he's coaching now for the White Sox. He is hands down one of the best shortstops in the game. I mean, he's won, I believe it's 11 Gold Gloves, and a lot of them were consecutive. So if you can do it year after year after year,
Shit,
you know
He's
you're
got a
doing
gold glove
something
for
good.
every finger and one for his dick. That's a lot.
Absolutely. Good thing these things go on YouTube.
Perfect. This is a family show, even though we drink beer, talk baseball, and bobbleheads.
Family-ish.
But hey, sometimes Dad has to put the kids to bed and enjoy himself. And that's what we're doing with all these wonderful beers from local breweries around Sonoma County, Mendocino County, down into Marin and San Francisco County.
Hey, I say, anybody who wants to subscribe to this, shout us a local beer from where you're from. We have absolutely no problem trying anything from anywhere. So, I mean, if you're up from
Online
Alaska,
orders.
listen, Alaska Brewing Company, I mean, I know it's another shout out, but they have a smoked porter that's probably the best thing I've ever had. And listen, we try beers from everywhere. So if you have a suggestion, just put it out there.
Drop it in the comments below.
He'll listen, we'll find it. So
I want to thank everybody for joining us on this edition of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. Now, later on today, you'll be able to see who we draw as the winner of the Triple B Swag Bag giveaway.
Yeah.
It's going to have a lot of brewery swag, plus a couple extras. I've been in communications with a couple people to put together a nice Triple B Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brew pint glass and or Pilsner glass because, you know, I think I've really enjoyed those blonde ales and
absolutely,
Pilsners.
yeah.
But we're also going to be giving away a $25 Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop gift card. Because what goes better with beers than wings?
Dude, B-Dubs kills it every time. If you got one of those, go there.
We currently
Sauce
have...
is off the chain.
Which
So
one?
many sauces.
All of it. So their spicy garlic is probably the best one that they have. It is just enough kick, just enough garlic. It's the best thing ever.
Yet again, Buffalo Wild Wings, if you're listening,
Fucking
we're taking
sponsor.
sponsorships
Seriously.
at any given time. But here in Ukiah, we have a Wingstop. And I personally like Wingstop because they partner with the Golden State Warriors. And I know
true.
that this is a
Yeah.
baseball show,
yeah.
but got to show love to the Warriors. Get well soon, Klay Thompson, who just went down with an Achilles tear.
Talk about ruining the
It's
year.
really, really hard seeing that because Klay is currently my favorite Golden State Warrior.
Well, it's going to be real tough to go for a championship with that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of smart minds in the Warriors front office that they can possibly come back from that. But
Hope so.
you got to hope that the other Splash brother will get back as soon as possible. That way him and Steph Curry can come back and try to see if they can resurrect this dynasty.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you again for joining us on this episode of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. And we'll see you next time.